somebody was like, hey, describe Jeff Kanata
You'd be like, he's a sack.
at his most basic level.
He's a sack of organic material, mostly water, that is periodically electrocuted by chemicals in his brain.
And he's my friend. Welcome to We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Kanata.
Hi, Anthony Carboni. Have you seen this crazy thing? Okay, so I went out and asked the people on the Twitters to suggest some things for us to talk about. And
You guys were great. You sent in a lot of stuff.
amazing. Several people, including at Danish Syed and at Savio Palm, sent in this story from Radiolab. So these guys are talking about zapping your brain. And you'd heard about this before.
Yeah, this is something that we covered on D News. It's transcranial stimulation. I'm sure I forgot a middle part of that, but basically it's a low amount of electrical current to a localized part of your brain that is responsible for a specific function. And by either using electrical current to stimulate it or shut it off, they can change things about your behavior. They can change your receptiveness to things. They can change your opinions on things, and they can change your ability to learn things.
That's the crazy part, right? So evidently DARPA is using what this is called tDCS, transcranial direct current stimulation.
Direct current.
They say that you can learn languages. They're training snipers this way.
I love that last year I covered this on D News, and it was like, here's a college that's trying to help people that have mental illnesses.
And now they're like super soldiers.
Yeah, it's like, and the government's like, hey, what are you working on over there in your lab right now?
I saw this video that this Anthony Carboni put out on the internet. It's pretty interesting. I'm just saying.
No, it's not interesting. We haven't really found anything yet. It's not.
They've got like 15 guys we could experiment on over in the sniper yard.
I don't know if it's going to do anything for you. You know, we're mostly just we're working with people who are having hallucinations. We don't even know if it works. We don't even know.
They told me to come over here and have my head zapped.
No. Listen, nobody's having.
Where do you want me to put my face? Do I lay it right here onto the metal slab?
Sir, that's my lap.
Oh, it looked like a metal slab from where.
But if you're angling to get into the lab, this is the way to do it.
No, I think this is insane. And my question to you is, would you do it?
Sure.
You would do it?
Absolutely. Why not?
No qualms?
No.
Well,
here's what's happening in your head right now. You are taking this to its sci-fi conclusion.
Well, of course I would.
You are like,
how could I
what
not?
does this mean about who we are? What does this mean about what I'm good at and what I'm bad at?
Right.
Here's what it means, Jeff. You're a collection of neurons. That's you. You're a bunch of neuronal circuits. You're a bunch of synapses, and depending on the way they fire, depending on chemicals that are released, you do something that either is Jeff Kanata or is not Jeff Kanata, and that's all you are.
But
you don't want to be that.
So you
want to be more than that.
On this day in 2014, you, Anthony Carboni, are saying we have no soul.
Yeah, I'm comfortable saying that. I'm 100% comfortable saying that.
I'm glad we wrapped that up neatly into a bow.
Yeah, sorry, everyone.
I don't know how I feel about soul. I'm not a spiritual guy per se,
but
I do think I have a hard time believing that I am only a collection of my neural impulses.
It's because you're an egotistical prick.
Well,
and it's not just you.
Not inaccurate.
It's everyone. We are egotistical beings. We are self-involved. We have an inflated sense of importance. Right. This is why we care about ourselves and we don't care about the greater good. This is why we're always looking out for ourselves and not other people. And you can be a good person. You can be less looking out for yourself than others. But everything that we are comes down to basic circuits that are looking for survival. Right. And the need to put a soul in there is the need to look out into the universe and be like, but I'm special though, right? No, dude, you're not special. You're special to me.
Well, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
If we can just reprogram ourselves, why not just reprogram everybody to be decent and awesome and
God, how great would that be?
You're ready for that. I'm
ready for decent and awesome. I'm not ready for samey, right? Like you're immediately thinking of the Twilight Zone where they take the normal looking girl and they make her a Barbie doll and whatever. Saying that there is a way to control certain impulses and change who you are is not necessarily saying that we're going to turn everybody into the same person.
Well, but if everybody can run as fast as Usain Bolt, why wouldn't everybody want to?
Eventually, everyone will be able to run as fast as Usain Bolt. Eventually, because
of Andrew Ryan in the BioShock of our universe right now.
Hey, man, no gods, only man. Look, The problem is we have been inundated with sci-fi. We have been conditioned to feel like this is automatically dystopian, right? That feeds into our basic belief that we are special and we are wonderful, because if you change what we are, that's got to be bad, right? But at one point, we were ape-like creatures without the ability to speak a language.
Right.
That changed over time. What if we could just change it faster?
I dig that. I dig the acceleration. I mean, I think here's my counter argument to you.
You don't want rocket feet, dog?
Give me rocket feet. Let me. You don't
think everybody gets to have rocket feet if you get to have rocket feet?
Well, here's my counter argument.
Why can't I have rocket feet? I thought we were down. I thought we were cool.
Well, if we all have rocket feet, then that's the new baseline. That's the new status quo.
It's a great baseline.
And now people want.
Do you know what the baseline is right now? I got to wait 45 minutes for a bus. If the baseline was everybody could get everywhere on rocket feet, that's a great baseline.
But then that won't be fast enough. Then rocket feet is too slow.
For who? For you?
For everybody.
Because everybody else has rocket feet, and so now you want better than rocket feet.
Of course.
You egotistical prick. This is what I'm talking about. You don't want the bar to be raised. We don't want the bar to be raised because we want to be better. We want to know that we can be better somehow. And if somebody could go in,
why is that bad? I don't think it's better because you need to be worse.
Who says rocket feet is where it stops with everybody getting better?
Right. You're saying we can shortcut to perfect.
We can shortcut to whatever the idea of perfect is now. And then, because of the nature of human beings, because you can't get rid of the nature of human beings, I think we will always strive to be more perfect. So if everybody can go in and get this stimulation and speak 100 languages, right?
Yeah.
50 UN translators lose their jobs. They're no longer special, right?
Right.
But go do something else. We can all speak the same language now. We can collaborate with people that we've never collaborated with before. We can do things with people that we were never able to do before. And so now everything gets elevated.
I'm down with that from a certain perspective. What about this idea?
What if I promise that you can have rocket feet for like 3 days before everybody else has rocket feet?
I'm not arguing because I want to be special. I'm arguing because I want to have purpose. And my purpose is inherently tied to working hard and striving to be better.
The human purpose, what you're talking about, is struggle. And forever, the human purpose has been tied to struggle. Man, I got to get out of this cave and hunt a wildebeest today. I don't want to. I want to sit and I want to do cave paintings because, like, man, it is hot outside.
I hate Cro-Magnon millennials.
Wildebeests are fast. And, like, all my friends, their families already have wildebeests. The human condition has been defined on struggle. And I think what will be really interesting is removing the struggle and seeing what we can actually do with our potential when we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Okay, let me get back to this counter argument that I wanted to bring up earlier. And that is...
selfish prick.
Art.
Cool, man.
Art doesn't fit into any of your little boxes of perfection.
My little box.
It's your little...
All of a sudden, I'm a suit. I'm the man.
You are.
Anthony Carboni with his actuary tables.
You want to put me in your rocket-feeted little pre-prescribed definition of perfection, and I'm telling you, art doesn't fit easily into that.
Cool. That's even better, because that means no matter what I do to your brain that makes it equal with everybody else's brain, you're still going to create, right?
Maybe not. Maybe if everything's easy and perfect and wonderful, there is no need to create. What if...
I don't know, man. I know a lot of trust fund kids who are DJs and in bands that will tell you otherwise. I got nothing to do all day. I guess I'll be a poet. If I have to.
That's a good counterpoint. I will grant you that. I'm saying that I think that art essentially breaks down to a struggle to understand the human struggle. It's a human.
You're saying art is motivated by trying to make yourself understood to other people.
Indeed.
Well, being understood to other people doesn't mean that you can't automatically speak French to them, right? Like, those are two different things, right? Like, we can implant language in you. We can make it easier for you to learn math. We can make it easier for whatever. That doesn't mean that you're not going to still fundamentally want to express yourself, right?
Yeah.
What along that road makes it so you don't want to express your feelings to other people?
Well, I think that there is a butting up against the limit of what I can do as a human being. But I think we talked about this in a different episode. Limits, I think, are part of the creative process. And as you start removing them artificially, there's something lost.
I think what happens is we end up with a new set of limits that we just can't even understand right now because we are so far below them that we don't even see them.
Listen, I'm all for bettering us as a species. Put the microchip in my head. I'm ready for it. I'm trying to
travel back in time 100 years and show a musician GarageBand, show an artist Photoshop, and they will probably...
Oh, man. What year is it?
It's 1914.
Oh.
Are you the dry ice delivery man?
I've come... This is going to be hard for you to understand, Ludwig. But I've come from the future.
No, I understand. So you're not from here.
Yeah.
You're from the future.
Oh,
Great.
Okay. I really thought that was going to be harder for you to swallow.
No. We have time. Where did you think you went? We understand things. We're not cavemen.
All right. Check this out. This is called a MacBook Pro.
I feel like we're starting off with you really condescending to me, and I don't appreciate it.
Well, let's be honest. The wig,
yeah,
it goes out of fashion real soon.
To be fair, most people are telling me that it's a little late for me to be wearing a powdered wig anyway.
Yeah.
It's 1914. We're in the middle of the Industrial Revolution. You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I doing right now?
Right. Well, I'm glad you have the self.
It's cool, man. I'm just an individual. I'm an artist.
All right, I just wanted to show you this. This is called a MacBook Pro. And this is a little piece of software I like to call GarageBand.
So it's a music box? It's a child's toy? What are you showing me right now?
Every instrument in the world is inside this box right now. I want you to create something with it, with your genius.
Can I keep this? Is this for me? I can have this?
Yeah, they give those things out like nothing.
You're going to go away? This is great. This is wonderful.
Well, I was hoping like a butterfly would flap its wings and you would create even better music. And then when
you came back into the past and you were like, I'm going to blow this dumb idiot past guy's mind, weren't you?
Well, I thought maybe you'd be freaked out to see my magic music box that has every instrument in it.
I mean, it's super impressive. But once again, I feel like you're talking down to me. Here's the thing. A lot of people will rage against that.
You're saying they would rage against the machine?
We would rage against the machine. They would rage against the music box. When Photoshop came out, a lot of photographers were like, this is the end of photography. When GarageBand came out, a lot of musicians were like, this is the end of music. But it's not, man. It's just removal of artificial limits. Technical knowledge does not equal creative ability.
I agree.
And when you remove those technical limits, the people who get the most afraid are the old guard who have the technical knowledge and not the creative ability.
I'm with you.
Remove the current limitations of our minds, and we get scared because, well, those are the limits. What happened? That's it. That's it.
Right.
There's nothing human beyond that. That's the edge of humanity. That's not true, man. 100 years ago, Ludwig would have been like, oh, shit, well, maybe I'm out of a job. But maybe he would have learned GarageBand and he wouldn't have had to hire an orchestra and get a patron, and he could have just put his music out.
Well, I don't want you to put me in the corner of being anti-technological advancement.
I don't want you to be in that corner, but you're putting yourself in that corner.
I'm saying that there's a line after which you divorce personality from it and you become an automaton.
Why? Where's that line?
Well,
explain that line, because you keep saying it exists, but I'm not understanding.
If we're just a blank set of organs that can be programmed hither and thither, doesn't that necessitate a lack of personality? Doesn't that remove personality from the equation?
No, personality is a very complex interaction between all those systems. Part of those systems are based on personal experience. No one will be able to have your personal experience. Nobody grows up exactly the way you grow up. Nobody latches on to the things that you latch onto.
But if my personal experience involves some horrible, traumatic life moment,
cool,
and I can walk into the office and have the dude hook me up to the battery and zap that moment out of my memory and wipe away all the trauma that it induced, maybe that's a good thing, but doesn't that alter my personality?
Sure, but I think, what they're looking at doing is not necessarily removing the memory as they are removing the worst emotional reflex reactions from that memory.
Right, which I would argue, I mean, it's sort of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
You would argue that because, and hey man, I don't know your life, but you would argue that because potentially you have not had a PTSD level sort of trauma in your life. Getting rid of that PTSD, getting rid of the crippling fear that comes along with it, doesn't get rid of the memory, and it doesn't erase the experience. You still have that, but maybe you can get out of bed in the morning. Maybe you can hold down a job better.
I think you're going to the extreme of some sort of healing moment, which I'm certainly not opposed to. I'm saying that
I feel like you hate technology and healing.
I hate technology and people who've gone through trauma.
Jeff Kanata just wants all of his current advantages over you, and he doesn't want them to go away. Oh, what's the matter, buddy? Did your parents die in a fire when you were a kid? Oh, you want to get rid of that because you can't sleep? You haven't slept in 30 years? Jeff Kanata says no. Jeff Kanata says suck it up. That's what makes you who you are. You are that fire, and you will always be that fire. And Jeff Kanata sleeps well at night, and he's gonna get rocket feet before anyone else.
If there's two things people know about me, it's that I'm heartless and I hate technology.
You're one of the most selfish, heartless people I've ever met.
and a complete technophobe.
3 things about Jeff Kanata.
Well, I'm glad we've made that clear to the audience.
I think there's an argument to be made on both sides. Sure, like there's a worry that if this becomes completely open access and everybody has all of the same experiences, right? Or people,
see here when you start getting to the point of selective humanity, when you say, okay, we're going to have a baby, and I want it to have blue eyes and blonde hair and can run the mile in 4 minutes and can is free from disease. Like some of those things are awesome, and it's a slippery slope to who are we, right?
There is a slippery slope. There 100% is. And I feel like there is a difference between bettering people, leveling a playing field to the point where it's like we're getting rid of specific disadvantages.
Right.
I think a lot of people would say, I would like it if my baby would not be born with an uncorrectable heart murmur. And everybody would say, yo, that's fine. But for whatever reason, I want my baby to be blonde. Freaks people out.
Yeah.
Why? What's the difference between the two? One feels...
Or I want a boy instead of a girl.
Sure. That's a problem. But at the same time, it also stops babies from being thrown into dumpsters in certain countries.
No, I dig that too.
There's a good and bad of both.
Yeah. That's a symptom, not a problem. That's not addressing the problem.
I feel
making the baby a boy.
What if I told you the lead scientist who created this was a dumpster baby? Whose parents died in a fire? You'd believe that, wouldn't you, Jeff Kanata? You'd believe that, you heartless son of a bitch.
It would sort of prove my point.
The problem is people want to regulate these things before they exist.
I'm not arguing for regulation. I'm asking you a simple question.
You're throwing ethical problems in front of me that are fun to try to think about.
I have a problem in front of me than a frontal lobotomy. No? Okay.
That's one dad joke. You get one dad joke
per episode.
Per episode, you get one dad joke. It's okay to talk about these things as a thought experiment and kind of get into them. But when arguments like this happen, because we are kind of selfish and scared creatures at our core, and because we have this idea that we are fundamentally special, it has a tendency to scare us to the point where we throttle innovation. And I know that's not what you're doing.
It's not what I intend to be doing,
I'm dicking around with you and pretending like that is what you're doing. But the problem is debates like this eventually go in front of people who make laws.
Oh, I know. And then we get into problems.
And then we get into things where that incorrectable heart murmur stays incorrectable for 100 years longer than it should have been incorrectable.
Because we are scared of the witches and we have to burn them.
You can't regulate a technology based on what you think it's going to become.
I agree. But let me just bring this back to a personal level, because I think we can agree on a sort of moral, legal level that we're not, I don't want anybody to step in and stop this. I want to talk about you and what your choice would be. Because if I break it down like this...
Rocket feet, 100 languages, perfect at math.
Dude, download the Kung Fu into my head just like Neo. I'm ready, please.
I'm not familiar with the reference.
I'm sure you've had the experience, as have I, of drinking to the point of extremity. And
I'm unfamiliar.
Or using a substance that is on the edge of legality and being told you've acted in ways that were not to your personality. right? You messed with your brain chemistry.
Yeah.
And you started behaving in ways that aren't you.
Here's the
now,
difference.
what happens if you go in and you do the 9-volt battery to get better, and then you wake up and you don't feel like Anthony Carboni anymore? Now you're not Anthony Carboni because inside you went, yeah, no, I can speak 12 languages and I got rocket feet, but where am I? Who am I now?
Here's what's cool. Number one, the specific parts of the brain that they are talking about stimulating don't really work that way. The part of the brain that's going to make you learn languages isn't the part of the brain that's going to change the way you feel about certain things. Maybe it will.
Hop out!
No.
To my question.
No, it's not. Number two is people are looking at this like they shock your brain and it's permanent. No. This is something where as long as they're applying current, you have an increased capacity, right?
Oh, so if they stop shooting your brain with electricity, you're like, I don't know that language anymore.
It's a learning thing. No, you will remember what you learned, but you can stop it. If you go, well,
I can stop it anytime I want, man.
Yeah, this feels unnatural. I don't like this. This doesn't feel like me. I'm a little scared. Take the battery off my tongue. Take the battery off my tongue.
What did he say? Apply the battery to my tongue?
No, I don't want this anymore. I feel different. I'm unhappy.
You know what? We keep giving him more languages, but they all sound like gibberish. I don't understand.
I can't. This is not working out for me.
All right, just increase the dosage, I guess.
He says he wants to learn alchemy.
We have that.
I think we both feel the same way, even though we're kind of tackling this from two different perspectives, which is I feel like overall it could do a lot of good, but we have to be careful and we have to take it slow. And I don't think anybody's saying that that's not the case.
And you painted me as the Luddite, but I am not that. I'm just saying it's an interesting question.
Sure.
And I don't know if listen, if someone had said all you have to do is get a little jolt and you can learn 6 languages and have rocket feet, I'd be doing that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But there's a part of me that's like, okay, well, slippery slope. Where does it go? Where does it stop? Who am I? Mm-hmm. Who am I? Do I want to be Superman? Of course. I dream about it daily.
Yeah.
But
what happens when you become Superman?
Do I lose Clark Kent? Is Clark Kent dead? Because I like being Clark Kent too, a little bit. The clumsy, Clarky Kenty kind of part of me that needs glasses.
You ever read any real books? Because maybe we'd be having a different conversation. How do you guys feel about this? Definitely let us know. You can do it on Twitter. I'm at A Carboni.
And I am at Jeff Canada with 2 N's and 1 T.
If you've ever seen any stories that you were like, man, I would like to see these guys talk about this, you can send them to us at wehaveconcerns.com/ask. And hey, if you have not subscribed to us on the iTunes or the Stitcher or Pocket Cast if you're on Android, every subscription helps.
And all those reviews, we have been so grateful to get such awesome reviews from people. Thank you if you've already left a review. If you haven't, it'd be cool if you did.
Maybe you just leave a review. I don't know. Maybe we shock you until you become the sort of person who leaves reviews.
Superman reviewer. Or, Boo Radley if you're into literature.
I feel like the only book you've ever made reference to in 6 episodes is To Kill a Mockingbird. You're just, it's like your literary
my go-to.
Have you ever, well, and To Kill a Mockingbird.